Within the next minute, you will discover that your aversion to crowded places isn't a social anxiety disorder to be cured, but a deep psychological armor protecting a rare and powerful mind. This isn't a video about learning to cope. This is about understanding that the nausea you feel in a packed mall, the silent panic in a loud bar, the profound exhaustion after a party, these are not flaws. They are the symptoms of a brain that operates on a different frequency, a mind that sees too much, feels too deeply, and processes a world that everyone else seems to be merely skimming. By the end of this, you will not only see your own mind reflected in a way you never have before, but you will be given the key to stop fighting this part of yourself and start wielding it as your greatest strategic advantage in a shallow, overstimulated world. Let's begin with a story you might recognize. Imagine it's a Friday night. You've been convinced, perhaps against your better judgment, to go to a popular bar downtown. The moment you step inside, it's not excitement that hits you. It's a wall of sound, dozens of overlapping conversations, clinking glasses, bass from the speakers that vibrates in your chest, a wall of sight, flickering lights, a sea of anonymous faces, a constant chaotic movement, a wall of smell, perfume, sweat, alcohol. While your friends immediately dive into the chaos, already laughing, you feel yourself retreat. You find a spot near the wall, or maybe you make a beeline for the restroom just to have a moment of silence. Your smile feels plastered on. You nod along to conversations you can barely hear, your mind working overtime just to filter the noise. You're not being antisocial. You're conducting a frantic, invisible psychological triage. Every laugh from a stranger, every accidental brush against your arm, every change in the lighting is a data point your brain is forced to process, analyze, and file. After an hour, maybe two, you are spiritually bankrupt. You feel a fatigue that is bone deep, a hollowing out of your very essence. You make your excuses and leave. And the moment you step outside into the quiet, cool air, it feels like coming up for air after being held underwater. The relief is physical. This isn't just introversion. This is something else entirely. Psychologically, what you are experiencing has a name, and understanding it is the first step to reclaiming your power. It's called sensory processing sensitivity. It's not a disorder. It's an innate, biological trait found in roughly 15 to 20% of the population. These individuals are known as highly sensitive persons, or HSPs. Their nervous systems are literally wired to process information more deeply and thoroughly. Think of most people's brains as having a coarse filter, letting through only the most important stimuli. Your brain, however, has a fine mesh filter. It catches everything. The flicker of the fluorescent light, the 37 different conversations happening at once, the subtle shift in a friend's tone in the background, the feeling of a synthetic fabric tag on your neck. Dr. Elaine Aron, the pioneering researcher behind the concept, has shown through brain scans that HSPs have more active mirror neurons and greater blood flow in regions associated with empathy, awareness, and deep processing. This means you aren't just in a crowd, you are absorbing the crowd. You are unconsciously registering the subtle anxiety of the person across the table, the forced joviality of the bartender, the underlying tension in a couple's conversation 3 tables away. Your brain is a high-performance processor running a constant real-time analysis of the entire emotional and sensory field. In a survival context, this person was the tribe's lookout, the one who sensed the predator in the bushes that everyone else missed. In a modern bar, it's a recipe for psychological overload.
This leads us to the first dark psychological truth. Your hatred of crowds is not a weakness. It is a sophisticated threat detection system that has been activated in an environment it wasn't designed for. A crowded place is, from your nervous system's ancient perspective, a territory of immense unpredictability and potential danger. Too many variables, too many unknown intentions, too much sensory camouflage for a potential threat to hide within. Your feeling of being on edge is your limbic system, your inner sentinel, screaming that it has exceeded its capacity to effectively monitor the environment. This is why you instinctively seek the wall, the corner, the seat with your back to the wall. You are subconsciously securing your perimeter, reducing the angles of incoming data so your overwhelmed system can manage the load. This isn't paranoia. This is the ghost of your ancient psyche trying to keep you safe in a world of concrete and noise, instead of trees and silence. Let me tell you a story that illustrates this perfectly, a case study in the power of this trait. In the late 1990s, a team of psychologists was studying decision-making under pressure. They brought a group of traders from the Chicago Mercantile Exchange into a simulated trading pit, a classic, chaotic, crowded environment of shouting and frantic hand signals. They mixed in a group of controls. What they found was startling. The successful veteran traders, the ones who had thrived in that very chaos for years, showed a fascinating pattern. While they appeared to be at the center of the storm, their physiological responses told a different story. They had developed what the researchers called controlled detachment. They could engage in the chaos while maintaining a core of intense internal calm. But here's the dark twist. Many of these veterans, in private interviews, confessed to elaborate, almost ritualistic solitude practices. One described spending entire weekends in a remote cabin with no phone, no radio, just silence. Another spoke of late-night drives with no destination, the empty roads acting as a sensory palate cleanser. They weren't just extroverts who loved crowds. They were strategic introverts or highly sensitive individuals who had learned to weaponize their need for deep processing. They would absorb the chaos of the trading floor, but then they required absolute isolation to decompress and process that information, to separate the signal from the noise. Their success wasn't in spite of their need for solitude, it was because of it. Their hatred of the constant crowd is what gave them their edge. They used the crowd as a source of data, then retreated to their psychological bunker to analyze it. This is your potential. The world tells you to get out more, to be more social, but the dark psychologist knows that your power isn't in enduring the crowd. It's in strategically using the profound insights you gain from your necessary isolation.
This brings us to a shocking psychological fact that will change how you see every crowded room you've ever fled. A series of studies on urban versus rural living found that constant exposure to dense, crowded environments can literally rewire the brain to be more distrustful and less helpful. City dwellers in crowded settings show heightened activity in the amygdala, the brain's fear center. But for the highly sensitive person, this effect isn't just a mild shift, it's a neurological firestorm. You are not just adapting to the crowd, you are feeling the collective low-grade anxiety of everyone in it. You are absorbing the ambient stress. This is why you can leave a seemingly fun party feeling contaminated, as if you've been swimming in a pool of psychic sludge. It's not in your head. It's in your nervous system. You are a psychological empath, whether you want to be or not. Your brain is mirroring the fragmented attention, the social performance, and the hidden stresses of hundreds of people around you. The shock you feel isn't just from the volume, it's from the visceral, unconscious realization of how much emotional labor people are expending just to exist in that space. You are seeing the machinery of social facades, and it is exhausting to witness. So where does this leave you? Trapped between a brain that sees too much and a world that demands you see less? No. This is where we pivot from understanding to strategy. The benefit of embracing this truth is nothing less than the reclamation of your mental sovereignty. The first step is to reframe your retreat from crowds not as a failure, but as a strategic withdrawal. You are not running away. You are returning to base to analyze the intelligence you have gathered. Your solitude is not emptiness, it is your command center. It is where the chaos you absorb is sorted, filed, and transformed into your unique form of intelligence. A deep, nuanced understanding of human nature, motivation, and the unspoken rules that govern social dynamics. While others are lost in the noise, you are in the quiet, reading the blueprint. This is the core, to see the uncomfortable truth of your own nature, and instead of white-pilling yourself with toxic positivity, to use that dark, uncomfortable truth as your foundational power. Your aversion to crowds is your psychological edge. It forces you into the depths where real understanding is forged. But this is only the beginning. Understanding why you hate crowds is one thing. The real, darker question is what this constant state of sensory and emotional bombardment is secretly doing to your mind, your identity, and your capacity for genuine connection. Now we will descend into the psychological fallout. We will explore the specific, often hidden traumas that can lock this trait into a prison of avoidance. And we will unveil the dark art of building an unshakable inner self that doesn't just survive the modern world, but commands it from a place of chosen, powerful isolation. The crowd is not your master. You are.
The world doesn't see your internal triage. It sees only your retreat. And so, from childhood, a story begins to be written about you. A story you likely started to believe. You were the shy one, the quiet one, the one who needed to come out of your shell. Every forced family gathering, every mandatory school assembly, every peer-pressured party was not just an ordeal, it was a lesson that your natural state was wrong, that your need for quiet was a deficit, that your profound comfort in solitude was a social failure. This is where the initial fracture occurs. Your authentic self, the one that thrives in depth and quiet observation, is systematically separated from the performing self you must create to navigate the shallow, crowded waters of everyday life. This is more than just social anxiety. This is a form of identity trauma. You learn to wear a mask, a social skin that mimics engagement, while your true self is screaming to retreat. The constant low-grade dread you feel before an event isn't about the event itself. It's the psychic weight of having to put on the mask again. It's the anticipation of the soul-crushing exhaustion that will follow. Let me tell you a story that illustrates this trauma, not from a therapist's couch, but from a place of extreme performance. There was a renowned orchestral conductor, a man who stood before hundreds of musicians and thousands of audience members, the absolute center of a massive, collaborative crowd. By all external metrics, he was a master of his domain. Yet in private, he was a ghost. His riders for performances were legendary, not for their extravagance, but for their demands for absolute silence. A dressing room with no visitors, a car waiting with the partition up, driver instructed not to speak. He described the act of conducting as building a psychic dam against a tidal wave of sound and emotion. For 2 hours, he would stand as a fortress, channeling the entire orchestra, feeling the collective focus of the audience. And then he would shatter. He would return to his hotel room, unable to speak, sometimes for hours, lying in a dark bath, his mind replaying every note, every musician's expression, every cough from the third balcony. He wasn't just tired, he was psychologically desecrated. The crowd, in its admiration, was a force that consumed him. His genius for leading it was inextricably linked to his profound hatred for its presence. This is the dark bargain so many of you are forced to make. To access your talents, your work, even your social circles, you must willingly submit to a process that feels like a violation of your core self. This relentless cycle of performance and recovery has a profound psychological effect. It can lead to what is known as chronic sensory and social vigilance. Your nervous system, constantly anticipating the next assault, never fully powers down. You may find yourself feeling on edge in seemingly calm environments, your body stuck in a state of low-grade fight or flight. This isn't you being dramatic, it's a conditioned response. Your brain has learned that the world is a minefield of overstimulation, and it is perpetually scanning for the next explosion. This hypervigilance is incredibly corrosive. It can manifest as irritability, a shortened fuse with loved ones, because home is the one place you feel you can finally drop the mask, and a deep, pervasive sense of loneliness, even when you're with other people. Because the ultimate loneliness is not being alone. It is being surrounded by people and knowing that the real you is locked away, unseen and misunderstood, performing a pantomime of belonging.
But here is where we find the turning point, the moment of shocking clarity. This trauma, this fracture, is also the very source of your greatest power. The constant need to retreat, to decompress, to process, forces you into a relationship with yourself that most people never ever develop. While the crowd dwellers are outsourcing their sense of self to the noise and validation of the group, you are being forced to confront who you are in the silence. This is a painful, often terrifying process. It means facing your own thoughts, your fears, your uncharted emotions without the easy distraction of constant external stimulation. But this is the forge. In this solitude, you are not hiding, you are building. Psychology has a term for what you are doing in those long hours of solitude. You are engaging in integrative self-reflection. Your brain is not just resting. It is actively weaving the chaotic sensory and emotional data from your forays into the world into a coherent narrative. It is making meaning. This is a higher order cognitive function, and it is the bedrock of wisdom. While others are skimming the surface of life, reacting to stimuli, you are in the depths, synthesizing. You are developing a profound and nuanced inner world, a rich tapestry of thought, insight, and self-knowledge. The very thing the world told you was your weakness, your need to be alone with your thoughts, is the engine of your unique intelligence. This is the core. To stare directly into the painful, isolating truth of your experience and to see, hidden within it, the seeds of an unassailable strength. Let's talk about how to weaponize this. The goal is not to become someone who loves crowds. The goal is to become so rooted in the power of your own inner world that you can navigate the external world on your own terms, with strategic precision, not fearful avoidance. This begins with a radical reframing of your solitude. It is not a consolation prize for social failure. It is your command center, your sanctuary, and your strategic reserve. Protect it with the ferocity of a wolf protecting its den. This means setting boundaries not as apologies, but as declarations. "I need to recharge" is not a weak excuse. It is a statement of fact from a high-performance mind. You must schedule your solitude with the same seriousness you would schedule a critical business meeting, because it is. It is the meeting where you meet with your most important asset, your own consciousness.
Next, you must learn the art of strategic engagement. You will never be the person who floats mindlessly from one social event to the next, so stop trying. Instead, become a psychological sniper. Choose your engagements with extreme prejudice. Ask yourself not, "Should I go?" but "What is the strategic value of going?" Is there one person there you genuinely need to connect with? Is there a piece of information you can only gain by being present? If the answer is no, grant yourself the permission to decline without guilt. Your energy is a finite and precious resource. Stop spending it on liabilities. When you do choose to engage, do so with intention. Arrive late, leave early. Have an exit strategy pre-planned, a code word with yourself, a scheduled phone call. Control the parameters. Your power lies not in enduring, but in choosing when and how you deploy your attention. This shifts you from a passive victim of your environment to an active architect of your experience. Finally, you must channel the profound insights gained in your solitude outward. Your deep processing gives you an almost preternatural ability to see patterns, to understand underlying motivations, to sense dissonance. This is a form of power. Use it. In a one-on-one conversation, your ability to listen deeply and ask penetrating questions will make you more memorable than any loud, crowd-pleasing performer. In your work, your capacity for sustained, focused thought in isolation will allow you to solve problems that leave others distracted and baffled. Your hatred of superficial crowd dynamics makes you a natural truth-teller, an iconoclast, a person who cannot help but see through the facades. Do not silence this voice. Lean into it. The world is drowning in noise and shallow connection. It is desperate for the very depth you have been forced to cultivate. Your mind is not a crowded place. It is a sanctuary, a library, a laboratory. The noise of the world, the crowded bars, the frantic shopping malls, the obligatory parties, that is the true chaos. Your retreat from it is not a retreat into darkness, but a return to the light of your own consciousness. The crowd seeks to dissolve the self in a sea of anonymity. You have been given the difficult, painful, and ultimately glorious gift of being forced to forge a self that is undissolvable. You do not hate crowded places because you are weak. You hate them because you were built for depth, for meaning, for sovereignty. Stop seeing your need for space as a boundary. Start seeing it as the border of your own empire. And within that empire, you are not lonely. You are the ruler.